Hello, mabuhay! This is Teacher Lourdes, and this is your course, Science, Technology, and Society. Our lesson 4 is Indigenous Science and Technology in the Philippines. Our objectives are explain the characteristics and significance of indigenous science and technology in various Philippine cultural communities. Identify and describe examples of indigenous innovations and illustrate how these technologies demonstrate scientific principles. And analyze the relevance of indigenous knowledge systems in modern sustainable development and environmental stewardship. These are our brothers and sisters of the Manida tribe in Sitio Calibigaho, Barangay Osmeña, here in Jose Panganiban, Camarines Norte, Bicol, Philippines. What do you think are their practices as indigenous people? Here beside me is Tata Umpong, the leader of the Manida tribe, and he showed me the bow and arrow he used for hunting wild pig in their forest. Let's define indigenous. Indigenous, according to Oxford Languages, means originating or occurring naturally in a particular place or native. For example, coriander is indigenous to southern Europe. It also means native, endemic, local, or domestic. Indigenous also mean of people inhabiting or existing in a land from the earliest times or from before the arrival of colonists. For example, she wants the territorial government to speak with indigenous people before implementing a program. Now let's have the lesson proper. Indigenous Science and Technology in the Philippines. Indigenous science and technology refer to the body of knowledge, skills, practices, and tools developed by Filipino cultural communities long before Western science arrived. This knowledge is rooted in the lived experience of communities, intimate interaction with nature, and centuries of refinement passed through oral tradition. So, in this, indigenous science and technology in the Philippines reveals advanced ecological understanding, sustainable resource use, sophisticated engineering and craftsmanship, and cultural identity and resilience. That's we will enrich your appreciation of how indigenous knowledge shape Filipino survival, livelihood, and nation building. So here is a photo of a native. They are dancing, holding plants. And this is a photo of Banawe rice terraces in the Cordillera Mountains in the Philippines. So they developed the mountains and planted there some rice because of their knowledge of how the water flows from the top of the mountain downwards. So, what is the foundation of indigenous knowledge? So, indigenous knowledge is founded on the long standing experiences, observations, and cultural practices of local communities that have lived closely with their natural environment for generations. It is holistic, combining practical skills, spiritual beliefs, and communal values to guide decision making in areas such as agriculture, health, resource management, and craftsmanship. This knowledge is transmitted through oral tradition, apprenticeship, and shared community practices, allowing it to evolve while remaining rooted in cultural identity. As a foundation for sustainable living, indigenous knowledge emphasizes harmony with nature, resilience, and collective responsibility, offering valuable insights that complement modern scientific approaches and contribute to community empowerment and, of course, nation building. So here is a photo of some children singing together. This is another photo. This is during a festival. And here is a photo of an indigenous uh, lady in a close shot. So thank you to ChatGPT for generating these images. And this is an image of or a photo of corn being harvested by a man. So indigenous knowledge is holistic as it integrates science, spirituality, and community life. It is empirical, which is based on direct observation and long-term experience. It is culturally embedded, which is linked to rituals, traditions, and values. And it is environmentally adaptive, which is designed to sustain natural resources. So what are the examples of areas shaped by indigenous science and technology? These are agriculture, for example, terracing, organic farming, and crop rotation. Health, they use herbal medicine and traditional healing practices. And architecture, which include bamboo engineering, stilt houses, and wind-adapted huts. And textiles and crafts, including weaving, dyeing, metallurgy, and pottery. So indigenous engineering and agriculture. So again, this is the Banawe rice terraces in the Philippines. So as you can see, it is very organized, and the mountain is shaped into rice terraces wherein the water from the top can flow and naturally to the plants from top to bottom. So the key features of Manawi rice terraces are it is built more than 2,000 years ago. It uses stone and mud walls to control soil erosion. It has a complex irrigation system harnessing mountain springs, and it requires coordinated community labor, also called bayanihan. The scientific principles involved are hydrology, soil management, ecosystem balance, and structural engineering. Now let's have Eta Mangyan and Lumad agroecological knowledge. So these are the Eta people. As you can see, the Eta have similar features with the Manide tribe. They have dark skin and they have curly hair and a small nose. So the Aita people and also the Manila tribe here in our locality, they also use natural farming methods. And the Aita are indigenous people primarily living in the mountainous regions of central Luzon. Their agroecological knowledge is closely tied to shifting cultivation or called kaingin, hunting, and foraging. They practice slash and burn farming in a sustainable cycle allowing forests to regenerate. They have intricate knowledge of native plants, including edible species, medicinal herbs, and those useful for crafting tools. Their practices demonstrate an understanding of soil fertility, seasonal cycles, and biodiversity. Now let's have the Mangyan. The Mangyan inhabit the Mindoro region and are composed of several subgroups, each with its own traditional practices. They engage in Sweden agriculture, growing root crops like sweet potatoes, cassava, and rice in small plots. Mangyan agroecological knowledge emphasizes crop rotation, soil conservation, and forest protection. They also integrate wild plants and forest products into their diets and livelihood, showing a deep understanding of local ecosystems and ecological balance. Now, let's have the Lumad. Lumad refers to various indigenous groups in Mindanao, including the Manobo, Higaonon, and Babobo. They practice agroforestry and mixed cropping systems, cultivating rice, corn, root crops, and vegetables alongside maintaining forested areas. Their agroecological knowledge includes water management, soil fertility enhancement, and pest control using natural methods. The Lumad also have sophisticated knowledge of plant propagation, seasonal calendars, and sustainable harvesting techniques, reflecting a holistic relationship with their environment. So, as you can see in this photo, generated by ChatGPT, probably from online, the indigenous people covered the soil to hamper the grass growth, resulting in healthier plants. These groups practice kaingin with controlled borns, done sustainably before commercial misuse, and crop diversity to avoid soil depletion. So when you say crop diversity, they use varied crops, not only one crop in planting, and they have season-based planting cycles guided by stars, climate, science, and animal behavior. They also have sacred forest zones that function as watershed protection. So now let's discuss indigenous health systems and ethnobotany. So indigenous health systems are traditional approaches to healing and wellness developed by local communities over centuries. These systems are deeply rooted in cultural beliefs, spiritual practices, and holistic understandings of the human body and environment. Unlike conventional Western medicine, indigenous health practices often emphasize the balance between mind, body, nature, using locally available resources and traditional knowledge passed down through generations. These systems not only provide healthcare solutions but also preserve cultural heritage and strengthen community identity. A significant aspect of indigenous health system is ethnobotany, the study of how people use plants for medicinal, nutritional, and ceremonial purposes. Indigenous communities have extensive knowledge of local flora, identifying plants that can treat infections, reduce inflammation, or alleviate pain. This knowledge is often accumulated through trial and observation over generations, making ethnobotanical practices a rich source of potential discoveries for modern medicine. By documenting and studying these practices, scientists can develop new pharmaceuticals while respecting traditional knowledge and sustainable harvesting practices. Integrating indigenous health system and ethnobotany into contemporary healthcare and scientific research highlights the importance of collaboration between traditional and modern knowledge. It encourages respect for biodiversity, cultural preservation, and the inclusion of community-based solutions in national health strategies. So, for example, we have Lagundi. And now in the Philippines, we already have Lagundi tablets. Lagundi is a natural herbal for cough. So now we have Lagundi bottle we can buy from drugstores. So these are some examples of herbal plant leaf. We have Acapulco, which is uh, a good medicine when you have fungal infections in the skin. And ampalaya or the bitter gourd. Ampalaya is a very nutritious herbal, and uh, it can give you a healthy body because bitter food are usually uh, can cure most diseases. Just like serpentina, serpentina is a cure also for cancer because I was a cancer survivor. And I eat ampalaya and serpentina to support my immune system and to heal properly. And this is balbas pusa, and this is bayabas or the guava leaf. So guava leaf is used to clean and heal wounds when you have wounds on your skin. Lagundi is used for cough. And malunggay is the healthiest plant in the world. It has numerous uh, minerals and vitamins, and it can heal and can support your immune system. And niyog-niyoga and oregano. Oregano is good for cough and also colds. And sambong. Sambong is good for mothers who just gave birth. And saangguba and ulasimang bato or pansit-pansitan. This is a cure for UTI and other infection in the urinary tract. And herbabuena. And also, okay, what happened? So next is, so these are just some examples of herbal medicine. So this is someone who is called an alburario or a traditional witch doctor. So, but he is not actually a witch. He is called witch doctor because he uses natural uh, herbal medicine to cure. He had not undergone proper education to become a doctor to heal sick people, but that's why he is called a witch doctor. But he is not actually a witch. So this is a traditional pilot using herbal medicine. So usually there is coconut oil and other herbs in the oil used to massage someone to make the body feel better. And then this is another herbal medicine. And so indigenous Filipino healthcare included hilot, albularyo, and ethnobotany, the meticulous knowledge of medicinal plants. So as we have said, lagundi for cough, ang gubat for stomach ache, ampalaya for anti-diabetic folklore use, and sambong for kidney support. Okay? So this knowledge contributed to modern phytochemistry and pharmaceuticals. So let's now go to indigenous arts, crafts, and material science. So this is an example of a traditional cloth woven by hand, and it's very colorful. And these are a picture or photo of banig and woven hats and walis tingting or the soft broom. This is the soft broom pala. Okay, in the traditional woven hats and the banig. Okay, made from abaca fibers. So it highlights ingenuity and cultural heritage. So the pattern and color carry symbolic meaning reflecting cultural identity. Okay, so indigenous knowledge systems like the art of banig weaving emphasize the connection between people, nature, and technology. They show how communities adapt to their environment by developing practical solutions that meet daily needs. So, for those who don't know, banig is used as a bed. It is for some Filipino communities. And this is used, uh, the hat is used to cover the head when it is hot. And this is a soft broom, which is used for cleaning the floor of the house. And this is the famed Apo Wangod. So she is the most famous and widely recognized mambabatok. When you say mambabatok, it is the traditional Kalinga tattooist. So she is a tattooist. So she uses indigenous materials to put the ink on the skin. She lives in the remote mountain village of Buscalan in the province of Kalinga, Philippines. So, other examples are tinalak of tibuli, a baka-based cloth inspired by dream weaving. So, another indigenous is in Inabel or the sturdy Ilocano woven fabric using advanced loom techniques. Banig, as we have said, it has geometric patterns and dye science and traditional metallurgy or bladesmithing. If, for example, making tampilan or kris, these are knives and pottery traditions. For example, Kalinga and Corderella ceramic technologies. Okay, so the scientific principles include material strength, natural dye chemistry, design engineering, and thermal properties in pottery. So, what are the relevance in modern society of the indigenous science and technology? It is essential for climate adaptation, biodiversity conservation, sustainable food systems, and of course, cultural preservation. Because I believe cultural preservation is synonymous with the preservation of the science and technology practices of the indigenous people. And today, researchers collaborate with indigenous communities to integrate traditional knowledge with modern technologies, an approach called transdisciplinary innovation. Recognizing and valuing indigenous science and technology is crucial not only for preserving cultural heritage, but also for enriching contemporary scientific discourse. By integrating indigenous knowledge systems with modern science, we can foster more inclusive, sustainable, and context sensitive approaches to current global challenges. Acknowledging the value of indigenous knowledge, UNESCO's Declaration on Science and the Use of Scientific Knowledge acknowledges its historical and ongoing contributions to global science and technology. In the Philippines, initiatives like the Schools of Living Traditions aim to preserve and transmit these practices to future generations, ensuring that indigenous science remains a vital part of our nation's cultural heritage. So, that is our lesson in indigenous science and technology in the Philippines. I hope you learned something. And for your assessment activity, you will have indigenous technology mapping. You will choose one indigenous Filipino community, for example, Ifugao, Tibuli, Mangyan, Eta, Kalinga, Maranao, or our local Mande tribe. You will identify one indigenous technology they develop, for example, weaving, farming, healing, or boat building. And then you will create a one-page illustrated concept map that includes description of the technology, scientific principles involved, materials used and methods, cultural significance, and the relevance to modern society. So this is the rubric. So that will be your output for this lesson. And then you will answer this short quiz. So these are the questions. This is good for 50 points. So you will answer this in a sheet of paper and you will submit it to me in hard copy. Okay, so these are my references. Thank you so much for these references. And this is Teacher Lourdes saying, mabuhay!